And as I was mentioning a few moments ago, I think my experience is something that of wanting to please people is something that many of us in this room share. It's just because when you wind up in a room like this, in a practice such as this, you often care a lot about people. You care a great deal about the people around you. And that takes the form of your family, your friends, your colleagues, the standard of work that your employers expect from you. We sometimes we want to see smiles on everyone's faces. But as you've probably noticed, just as I very often do, whether it's in a family setting or on a personal setting, everyone brings their own baggage, their own traumas, their own pains into the mix, into our presence. And so sometimes, no matter how much we try, it may never completely be appreciated because everything we do is often filtered, it's always filtered through that entity called the mind. And if the mind contains traumas and they're triggered, and it may not be, it's generally not, we might be the trigger, or there might be something else like the crowds of Assisi that might trigger that trauma. But we wind up in the receiving end. And many of us here, we know what it's like to have a quiet mind. We know what it's like to have a still mind. We know what it's like to feel peace and kindness and love. Those are our more natural states, which is why we want to stay in it all the time. And when it doesn't happen, it feels very uncomfortable. But in today's practice, let us remind ourselves that the aim and objective of our practice is not to be overly identified with the quiet mind. Yes, we do enjoy it, but because of the changing nature of the world around us, and it has to change, everything has to change from moment to moment because everything is energy, everything is atoms and molecules. Even from the point I began this speaking to you, each and every one of us, within our bodies, new cells have been formed. Old cells have died off and disappeared. It's the very nature of this world. And so let today's practice be one in which we move beyond the still mind, or rather identification with the still mind, which also means we practice moving beyond the turbulent mind, and we become the witness, the observer, which sounds very boring. That's simply because we're using language, but the witness is kindness. The witness is compassion. The witness is joy and peace and stillness. And the witness is so much more than all of these words put together. So maybe we could just simply start by being playful and using a visualization. And let's all begin in the same place. Let's all begin in that place of turbulence and confusion. And if you were visualizing it, it might take the form of a very large gray cloud with you trapped right in the middle of the cloud. And what happens with clouds? They move, don't they? Every single cloud in the world moves. And the reason we experience anxiety and worries and stress and is simply because we move with the clouds. We're very often enveloped by the clouds, which means our vision is blocked. The thunder sounds extremely scary. The flashes of lightning look frightening. But isn't that a nice way to begin the practice? Simply because that puts all of us on an equal footing, because we all know what it's like to be there, deep in the middle of the cloud. The cloud is, of course, the mind. And we get very upset when we move with the mind because the sadness and the anxiety and the worries and the sadness, it seems to stay with us. But you've come to this practice. You've come to this practice on the eve of the weekend. So why don't we use this opportunity to just not move with the cloud? So when I ring the bell, just take a deep breath in. Because if the cloud is the mind is time. The mind creates time. And by breathing in deeply, by feeling the sensations of your breath, both in and out, you begin to tap into the present moment. And the present moment is eternal, unmoving. It's almost as though the clouds move through the present moment, because it's from the present moment that you think about the past, and it's from the present moment that you think about the future and worry. And so as you breathe in deeply and feel the sensations of the air flowing in through your nostrils, and the warmer and more humid air flowing out. It's almost as though you begin to stop. You stop, but the mind continues to move. The clouds continue to move. And just noticing the movement, it brings such a relief. The relief that you feel is just that of knowing that whatever you're going through is passing. It's a nice feeling, isn't it? Take an even deeper breath. And if you can, try to breathe into your stomach. So your chest remains quite stable and steady, but your stomach wall rises. The insides balloon. Many of the teachers refer to this as a more efficient way in which to breathe. When you breathe out, exhale as slowly as you can, feeling those very minute falling movements on the stomach wall. And of course, the various sensations of warm, humid air moving. It's a lot easier to feel it when you're breathing slowly, moving up your nasal passage and down through the nostrils into the upper lip. And then begin taking in other aspects of this present moment, like your chair or the cushions that support you, the flooring or the carpet under your feet, the backrest or the armrest of your chair. The softness or the harshness of the fabrics that cover your body. Notice how the present moment begins to remain with you. And of course, your cloud, the cloud that envelops you, it might be a very large cloud. But for the purposes of this practice, we're going to just visualize and imagine that As you have stopped moving with the cloud continues to move, and you begin to reach the edges, the boundaries of the cloud, where it becomes from the thick grayness of the center, more and more light begins to seep in. And you can actually just visualize it as a light that's beginning to, it's a very bright light, but it begins like a dimmer switch, gradually from dark or off to dim to lighter and lighter. And constantly you're just repeating, this cloud is passing, this too will pass, as Eckhart Tolle likes to say. This too will pass. And your only work is to sit and breathe and to be centered, unmoving, present. And soon the cloud completely moves out of your range, and there are blue skies, bright warm sunshine bathing you, nourishing you, healing you, even bringing a smile to your lips, until the next cloud arrives. And for a moment, you got quite attached, identified with that blue sky. It happens to all of us. We love those walks on the beach. We love those moments of sitting on the balcony and looking out, listening to our favorite music and having that favorite drink with not a worry in the world, becoming very identified to it. And then when the new cloud, emerges and envelops us, it feels uncomfortable again. It's like a yo-yo, a roller coaster ride, filled with contrast. But through practice, you're learning to stop. But you're still within the range of the clouds. Confusion and anxiety, clarity and stillness, anger and worry, contentment and ease. That's how most of us, almost every single person in the world lives. But there is an alternative, and that's what Eckhart Tolle refers to as meditation, where you rise above the clouds, like one of those satellites, or the way in which the plane, have you noticed? Most of us here travel by plane, and the plane very rarely flies through the clouds if it can rise above it. And so when I ring the next bell, Again, take a deep, deep breath, but this time use your breath to help you rise above the clouds. You can be a hot air balloon, you can be an aeroplane, it doesn't matter. But let every breath carry you a little bit higher. Can you notice that even as you get higher, the, the clouds let in a lot more light? It's a lot thinner, less thick. And this feels good. And with the next bell, another deep breath, bringing you even higher. Until you move beyond the range of the clouds. Far enough from the clouds that they begin to look like, they begin to take very playful forms. Some look like a baby elephant, and some like a teddy bear, and others like a cat, and so on. But notice that you are now experiencing the clouds which continue to flow from a completely different perspective. For you have become the space above the clouds. You are also the space in between the clouds. And you are the space underneath the clouds. This is what kindness is. This is what unconditional love is. This is where wisdom is. Because all decisions taken from this space of are beyond, are untouched or untainted by anger and frustration and sadness and jealousy and all the rest. But my dear fellow practitioners, this is the practice. This is the reason why we meet every week and practice. Just to remind ourselves, not remind ourselves, experience it. Because memories can be forgotten, but experiences, they stay. Why is this space called kindness? Why do we refer to it as kindness? Because if you were to be the space underneath the clouds, it is the very space that moves into your nostrils, and through your nasal passage, filling up your lungs and your stomach, oxygenating your bloodstream and your body with its organs and cells. It is also the space that oxygenates and keeps every single one of us alive. It feeds the plant life and the animal kingdom. The single-celled organisms. And because you are the space within all of these different forms, you care about them because they're no separate from you. You care about everyone in this meditation room, this very special meditation room that we have created. But you also care about everyone who isn't. And because this space, it does not distinguish. It gives itself equally to all. It does not discriminate between mine and yours, family versus friends, friends versus strangers. Are you beginning to feel the kindness in who you truly are? Are you beginning to experience yourself as the compassionate being that you truly are? That is your essence. That is who you are. That is who I am. That is who we are. It's a feeling. It's not a thought. You care. But we also want to be beyond the clouds. Because the clouds will continue. To emerge, to momentarily exist, and then to disappear into the nothingness, the space itself. And if you have ever felt misunderstood or lonely, that can only happen within the cloud, because the clouds are distinct, separate. It's just a knowing, it's just an understanding. Because as the space, not only are you your body, but you are your neighbor. Not only are you your neighbor, you and you you and your neighbor, but you are also that other being in that other country and that other continent and that furthermost point from where you are. And how do you bring peace to that person that is in that other part of the world whom you saw on the news, who had tears? Or maybe not that far, maybe just when you were walking down the street, or maybe it's somebody in your family. You release an intention, and the intention is that may I experience the present moment, this present moment. May I experience the sensations of the breath that is either flowing in or out at this moment, and then feel it. And then feel yourself being embraced by the present moment. The stillness, the spaciousness, the vastness. And that's it. Because all beings everywhere are connected to you. Because every member of the human species and the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom, they share in this peace that you have cultivated and tapped into. Simple, isn't it? Just sitting and breathing. I often remind fellow practitioners that in a guided meditation, there is something far more important than the voice. There is something far more important than the bell. The gaps in between the words. The words are there to simply guide you into these gaps. Can you notice every time I say a word, there is a pause, there is silence, there is spaciousness. It is this space, it is this silence that is the real reason you are here. So for a few moments, I'll just not create any more sounds with my voice, but just ring the bell. so that you can bathe and you can swim in the silence. Now, I'm going to continue with my voice, but as the space, specifically the space that is moving through your body as your breath, let your breath in represent a new dawn to your practice, a new start. One where you create an intention that you would like to exist in a more consistent state of awareness, which means the space above the clouds and underneath the clouds. Just an intention, because when you release an intention, there's no pressure, because you might be in bed on a cold day, covered in a warm blanket, and you have an intention to get up, but that doesn't mean you get up immediately. You've just released an intention, but you want to continue lying down in the warm coziness of the bed. And so an intention is just that, the beginning. So take in a deep, deep breath and release this intention. And then the mind tells you, I've made this pledge many times before, but I haven't quite been able to sustain it. Now, when you breathe out, release that thought. Because it has to do with the past, because it has to do with memories. And arrive into a place where every breath in represents a new beginning, or rather just a start. And every breath represents a complete releasing of all of your luggage and baggage and past and expectations about the future. And experience the present moment. why don't we let go of a little bit more baggage in stages? Let's begin with our names. The next breath that you breathe out, release the name, which is attached to the form, which is this body. Which means you've never received a report card. You have no bank statements that are connected to you. No responsibilities, no have tos, no should nots. You're just a space, emptiness. Some schools refer to it as just empty. Empty means light. Light means easy. Easy means relief. Relief means a complete letting go. The releasing of the form means no gender, which also means no roles to play. I don't have to be more masculine. I don't have to be more feminine. Neither am I too masculine or too feminine. Instead, I'm perfect as I am. And the way in which the space embraces you, the space is embracing you. You are surrounded by space. You need to embrace yourself. Almost as though you were visualizing yourself as the newborn baby who just arrived. In innocence, no likes, no dislikes, no shame, completely free with the emotions. Perfection. If you can experience this, anchor yourself. Because this is where your home is. This is who you are. You're beginning to know yourself. Your sexuality is irrelevant. Because there's so much baggage attached to that as well. Again, you embrace yourself as the perfect beings that you've always been. And then you accept all of the kindness and the unconditional love and the light that surrounds you, that bathes you, that envelops you. You realize that it has always been here. And the only thing that was ever preventing you from experiencing it was a thought or a belief about yourself. But being, with a capital B, the perfect being that you are now deserving of all that is entering into your experience. It may take the form of challenges, those ups, those downs. But have you started to notice how the space, this kindness, it is beyond judgment. And there is just a knowing that there is growth. And what is growth? It is expansion. Expansion of what? Compassion, kindness. The wisdom of knowing that this is our nature, the center of gravity, our center of gravity. And if this is the center of gravity at the center of your being, no effort is required. You need only let go. Some religions use the word surrender. And return. the only place, the only space you could ever go. Here, exactly where you are right now. Exactly where you've always been. The only difference is that you're above the clouds, and underneath the clouds, and in between the clouds, and the clouds themselves, because the clouds are within you. They're tiny little clouds, like little balls of cotton. Tiny balls of cotton. That seems so much more manageable. Let's help ourselves gravitate, shall we now? Let's help ourselves gravitate into this space called kindness and love and wisdom. With each ringing of the bell, we're going to relax any remaining pockets of tension from the different parts of the body that I will direct you to. So I always like to begin with the forehead. So with the ringing of this bell, let the skin around your forehead loosen. And then the eyebrows and the scalp. Every cell that you release and relax, it gravitates back into the present moment. And the present moment is this kindness that we are now experiencing. But it has no limits. That's why you experience kindness, and then more kindness, and then even more kindness, until tears begin to flow because it can no longer be contained. Same with compassion and understanding. And the next bell for the whole region within your head, where the brain is and the eyes are and the ears, the inner ears. And all of your facial muscles. Truly experience your facial expression from within, and then release any unnecessary tightness that may still be contained, whether within the skin or the muscle or the tissue underneath. Here's one specifically for your jawbone. So that your teeth don't need to be clenched. Gaps can appear. Your tongue can be at ease. And now your neck and your shoulders. But this time when you hear the bell, let the weight of your arms pull and tug down on your shoulders. And the chest muscles. And the upper back. And for the organs in between, like the heart and all of the other organs contained within your trunk, just release an intention. The brain and the intelligence within all of the cells that make up your organs, they will take care of the rest. And when we speak of kindness and love within cells and in between cells, it means the cells, they begin to work in harmony, in peace, helping each other to achieve the same goal, which is your well-being, your healing, your balancing, your good health. Here's one for the mid regions where the stomach is, where the digestive system is, where the kidney functions are. Just releasing intentions. Knowing, that's the wisdom, knowing that it's all being taken care of. And now a very special one for the pelvic region. And now the legs. And the knees and the feet. Feel the seat under you, embracing you into the present moment. Feel the space around you, embracing you into the present moment. Feel the space that is your breath, embracing you from within. Until it is in all places, everywhere, beyond space, beyond time, here, now, always, forever. With every breath that we take, And every step, and every bite, and every taste, and every scent, and with every sound. Do you recall how we began this practice with an intention? That we may live in a heightened state of awareness. This next bell represents this new beginning. And with that, I will wish you all a wonderful weekend and convey my most
Could you please
sincere
wait a
thanks.
second?
Yes, of course. Please.
It was wonderful, thank you. But
Yes.
I never heard any bell. Did the others all hear the bell?